Elk Hollow, Oregon, is the kind of place where everyone knows everyone, and they all knew Rachel Morgan. She was 17, a top student, captain of the debate team, a waitress at the only diner in town. And more than anything, she was known for asking questions. Rachel wrote for the school newspaper and didn't shy away from uncomfortable topics. In fact, her last published article questioned the shady sale of public land to a private developer, a deal the town's council rushed through with little explanation. Privately, Rachel had started hinting that she was onto something bigger, something involving the police. A week before she disappeared, she told a close friend, "If anything happens to me, don't believe it was an accident." At the time, it seemed like teenage drama. Later, it sounded like a warning. On the night of May 15, 1998, Rachel clocked out of her evening shift at the diner around 9:30 p.m. It was the start of spring, but the night was unseasonably cold. She was seen riding her bike in the direction of Lake Norwood, a quiet stretch of land on the outskirts of town. Locals say she liked to go there to think or to write. By morning, she hadn't returned home. Her bike was found lying on its side in the gravel, just a few feet from the water. Her backpack was nearby, zipped shut. Nothing appeared stolen. But oddly, several pages were missing from her notepad. No blood, no torn clothing, no sign of a struggle. Rachel had simply vanished. A search was launched immediately. The lake was dredged. Dogs were brought in. Helicopters scanned miles of forest. But nothing, no body, no clues. The town held vigils. Flyers went up. But within weeks, the investigation began to lose momentum. Rumors spread that Rachel had run away. The police leaned into that theory hard. One of the lead officers on the case was Deputy Daniel Price, a long-serving member of the Elk Hollow Sheriff's Department. He told the media there was no evidence of foul play. But privately, Rachel's family said Price seemed too eager to close the case. He discouraged questions, shut down outside investigators, and refused to release certain case files to the family. The official narrative? Rachel Morgan ran away. Her family knew better. Fast forward 23 years. Rachel's younger brother, Eli Morgan, was only 6 when she disappeared. Now in his late 20s, Eli had never stopped searching. He'd collected documents, maps, and old newspaper clippings. He even built a digital timeline of Rachel's final days. In 2021, Eli received an email from a former teacher who had recently retired and found an old Kodak camera in storage. Inside was an undeveloped roll of film from 1998. When developed, the last photo was chilling. It showed Rachel standing beside a black pickup truck in the parking lot behind the diner. Her face was tense, almost forced. The timestamp read 9:41 p.m., just minutes after her shift ended on the night she vanished. The truck was instantly recognizable to Eli. It belonged to Deputy Daniel Price. At the time of the photo, Price was 39. He'd retired in 2010 and moved to a remote town in Idaho. Back in 1998, no one had considered him a suspect. He was leading the investigation. But as Eli dug deeper, disturbing patterns emerged. Rachel had written several notes in the weeks leading up to her disappearance, cryptic entries in her journal like, "They are watching me now. He knows I'm asking questions." Witnesses began coming forward. A waitress who worked with Rachel recalled her arguing with Price in the alley behind the diner just days before she vanished. Another classmate said Rachel had confided that a local cop was threatening her to back off her story. Eli brought the evidence to state investigators. In early 2022, the cold case was reopened. Under questioning, Price denied everything. But when confronted with the photo, he broke down. Investigators say he confessed to meeting Rachel at Lake Norwood that night. She had planned to publish a piece exposing a decades-long cover-up, illegal land sales, bribery, and evidence suppression, all tied back to Price and 2 other deputies. Price admitted they argued. He claimed Rachel threatened to go public. He said he panicked, that he just wanted to scare her. What happened next, he called a tragic accident. But the truth was far more brutal. Rachel was silenced, buried in a shallow grave on his family's private property. On May 15, 2022, exactly 24 years to the day Rachel disappeared, authorities recovered her remains from the wooded edge of Price's old property. Dental records confirmed her identity. Price was arrested and charged with second-degree murder, obstruction of justice, and abuse of public office. In court, he showed no emotion. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. The other officers named in Rachel's journal resigned. One is currently under investigation. Rachel's mother, now in her 60s, told reporters. She wanted to tell the truth. That was always who she was. And now, the truth finally came out. The town of Elk Hollow changed after Rachel's case was reopened. A memorial was built near Lake Norwood. A journalism scholarship was created in her name. And the high school newspaper now bears her name on the masthead. But deeper questions remain. How many people knew something back then and said nothing? How many other small towns bury their secrets just as deeply? Rachel Morgan wasn't just a victim. She was a whistleblower, a truth seeker, and she paid the ultimate price. But her voice still echoes, louder than ever.